What's up, Coastal Fitness and Nutrition family? I'm the founder, Dr. Devin Coughlin of Coastal Fitness and Nutrition. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about where the idea of Coastal Fitness and Nutrition came from, what it's based on, and really just kind of give you a background as far as exactly what it is. We're going to talk about the nutrition aspect, the exercise aspect, and then we're just going to dive right in here. So what is Coastal Fitness and Nutrition? Really, the idea came from over the years studying all different types of nutrition plans, whether it be paleo, keto, vegetarian, veganism, you name it, we've studied it. And then you look at the different exercise programs out there, whether it be really high intensity, whether it be low, endurance, again, you name it. And really what we wanted to do was just say, hey, listen, a lot of these different programs can be very extreme. And so we wanted to get some of the best of different programs, put it together in one program that we could not only teach and really give away the content for free on YouTube, but really make it very applicable. And so this video is going to be an overview, but again, on future videos, we're going to break down and not give you these real generic, hard to understand ideas like, eat this way or eat that way. We're going to tell you the brands to buy, where you can get them, all those different things. And we really want to make this a usable, channel for YouTube that you can go to and get really, really easy information that you can implement right away. Again, we're going to have videos on the actual exercises themselves. We're going to have recipe videos. We're actually so committed to this, and as far as you see the coastal aspect, a lot of it's going to have to do with seafood. We're even going to teach you guys how to fillet fish. If you're a fisherman, you want to catch fish, fillet fish, things like that. We're going to go through all that with you in future videos, but just to give you an overview of the nutrition aspect of it. Again, Coastal Fitness Nutrition is going to be really a mix of two diets that when I look at, I say these make the most sense. They've been around for a long time. Our ancestors ate this way. And one's going to be a paleo diet, or I would call a modified paleo diet, mixed with what we call a traditional diet. And so if you're familiar with the term Weston A. Price and another gentleman, Dr. Royal Lee, both were dentists that actually came up with this nutrition program. And that was after they traveled the world doing dental care in third world countries. And what they were finding is that certain people had really healthy, strong teeth that ate a certain way. That's why they called it traditional diet. And then again, the origins of the paleo diet were, Paleolithic period, our ancestors ate a certain way. We should be genetically designed to eat the same way. And so, again, that's really the idea that we want to look at is we're kind of pulling from both of those. I've looked at keto, I've looked at vegetarianism. Again, they have some benefits, but for most people, they're not going to be the best way that we want to be eating on a regular basis. So, again, looking at this, genetically appropriate, how our ancestors ate, what that's going to look like is a lot of different broths, soups, and stews. So our ancestors would eat a lot of things this way, whether it was a chicken base, a beef base, in a lot of cases a seafood base. Again, a lot of our diets, we want to have heavy broth-based soup and stews. All right, and so that's going to be one of the big things that we talk about a lot. It's going to be high in healthy fatty acids. If you've seen some of our other videos, we talked about healthy fatty acids, unhealthy fatty acids, and oils. Again, omega-3s are always going to be healthy. Some omega-6s are healthy, some are not healthy. Omega-9s are typically very healthy, and again, certain saturated fats are very healthy, which we went into in depth in another video. But again, it's going to be high in healthy fatty acids. Our body needs that. Contrary to popular opinion, we actually need those fatty acids big time. When it comes to animal proteins and fats, I am a big proponent of getting protein from animal and also healthy fats from animals. So again, not to knock vegetarianism or veganism. Again, it has its place for some people. For the majority of people, though, we really want to make sure that we're getting those animal protein. Again, it's got to be organic and it's got to be grass-fed. All right, meaning that animal's eating what it was designed to eat, not what some commercial feedlot has been feeding it. All right. And then really when we look at some of the other breakdown here, we want to be as close to gluten-free as possible. People could argue all these different things about, being gluten intolerant or having gluten allergies. Even if you don't have those things, you're still going to be better off being gluten-free or as close to it as possible. We want to look at sprouted grains rarely. If you do want to have some grains and you do want to eat sprouted grains, all that means is that the grain is soaked first. So for example, if you were to eat wheat, it would be soaked in water first to actually get rid of some of the unwanted parts. One of them is being lectins, that you can actually minimize the amount of lectins, which is an irritant that's found in a lot of plants. But again, that would be something we want to have rarely. We want to have that on a regular basis. Another one's going to be fermented vegetables and dairy. So a lot of people would say, oh, dairy's good, dairy's bad. if you get raw, basically fermented or high probiotic rich dairy, it can be very, very beneficial to you. And then vegetables. There's a lot of misnomers with vegetables. A lot of people that are vegetarian or vegan will be like, oh, vegetables. Vegetables are great in a lot of ways, but the two best ways to eat vegetables are actually in soups and stews. The other one is to actually ferment them, like sauerkraut, something along those lines. And again, that makes it more digestible. It also brings more nutrition to the actual vegetable by unleashing things that can be nutritionally bound up in the vegetable. It's also easier to digest that way. Fresh fruits in moderation. Keto vilifies fruits. Again, I'm going to tell you there's a lot of nutrients, minerals, and vitamins that can be found in fruits, and I do think that's biologically appropriate that we're eating fruits in moderation. And then we want to see a low glycemic diet, meaning that we're not spiking our blood sugar throughout the day. And then another big thing here, a lot of these different diets out there are really talking about long intermittent fasting or going, hours and hours, up to 18 hours without eating. That might, again, work for some people, but we really want to focus on blood sugar stability as part of Coastal Fitness and Nutrition. Again, when we look at eating this way, we want to make sure that our blood sugar is stable. One other point I want to make as far as the coastal aspect and the seafood aspect, seafood brings a lot of really specific minerals and nutrients to the table that we don't get if we're eating basically animals that are on land. So again, there's certain things that are rich in seafood, whether it be iodine or omega-3 fatty acids, different minerals and vitamins that can be found there. And so we want to make sure that we're looking at a general idea here. We're going to be developing a new food guide pyramid that we're going to utilize for Coastal Fitness and Nutrition. Once that's available, we'll have it as a download that you can download underneath the video in YouTube. All right. And so looking at the exercise portion here, one of the big things that sets Coastal Fitness apart from other exercise programs is that we really want to focus on being outdoors. All right. There's a vast difference between exercising outside and in a gym where there's no sunlight, there's no fresh air, all those different things, which we're going to touch on in just a minute here. We want to focus on getting that sunlight. Again, we've talked about this in a different video of how to maximize vitamin D absorption. And again, the whole idea that sunlight is bad for you and going to kill you is a lie. It's BS. I don't want you to believe that at all. One of the biggest benefits to exercising outside is going to be getting sunlight and vitamin D production. In addition to being outside, you're going to get way more oxygen-rich, fresh air than you would inside. I would even make an argument, especially now, with all the different disinfectants and cleaners and sprays that you're getting exposed to in a gym environment. You're much better off exercising outside for a number of reasons. But again, oxygen and sunlight are two of them. Varied movements. Again, one of the core foundations of Coastal Fitness Nutrition is going to be to do various movements. I don't want you doing the same exercise every day. Some people get real comfortable with an elliptical machine or a stationary bike. That's fine on occasion, but we really want to vary our exercise so that our body's getting challenged in different ways and that we're not just focusing on the same part of our body all the time. We want to have varied movements. Moderate resistance. So again, when we talk about lifting weights or using resistance bands or pulleys, we don't need to go super, super heavy. Now again, there's certain athletes that do that, and that's fine. But for most people, we want to have moderate resistance. We can achieve really good results as far as building lean muscle mass without using tons of weights. A cool analogy I want to give you is that if you had a pickup truck and you were going to have to haul like 2,000 pounds, you could put it all in the back of the pickup truck and weigh it down and stress it, or you could use a trailer and pull it. And that's really the mindset that we want to have. If we're using these heavy weights, we're stressing our joints, we can create damage in our joints. So we want to have moderate resistance, and if we are going to be doing different resistance training, we're going to really focus on moderate weights or more than likely using resistance bands and body weight to do a lot of that. Low impact cardio, again, that could be cycling, it could be elliptical, it could be swimming, different things like that. There's a time and place for doing some high impact running, sprinting, plyometrics, but again, that's not going to be the bulk of what we're doing here. We want to be barefoot when possible. We're going to touch on this on the next slide in just a minute, but exercising barefoot has a number of benefits. One being it's really good for the muscles in your feet and your arches. The other being is that there is something called grounding, which is when your body is connected to the earth, barefoot on the soil. The earth gives off a negative electrical charge. It's called electrons. And it actually helps to balance some of the free radical activity in your body, some of the aging and damage that goes on. This process, believe it or not, being barefoot in the sand or on grass or in the soil, has a lot of health benefits. And then again, we want to emphasize flexibility and pliability, meaning that as we get older, our strength typically stays pretty good, but we lose flexibility and pliability. If you want to feel old real fast, be the guy that can't touch their toes or can't move or get in and out of the car. So we want to focus on flexibility and pliability. All right, so again, overall goals with Coastal Fitness and Nutrition. The big one here is going to be longevity. We're going to plan on living a very long period of time. So we want to be active and have independence and be self-sufficient for as long as possible. Again, self-sufficiency as we age. I don't know anyone that wants to live in a nursing home or have an aide that helps them move around their house when they're in their 70s and 80s. No one wants to be there. Our goal is for you to be 100 years old, walking miles, swimming, golfing, tennis, whatever it is that you do. That's a big core of this program. Flexibility, like I mentioned on the last slide, we want to make sure that our body and our muscles are flexible and pliable. That's going to be a big goal with what we're doing. We obviously want to prevent injuries. What good is your exercise program if you're always injured or hurt or sore all the time? So again, it just makes sense that when we're exercising, we shouldn't be creating new injuries. All right. And so a lot of people, it's kind of like no pain, no gain. I don't agree with that either. I think there's a point where we have to make sure that our exercise isn't actually having a bad effect on us or harming our health in any way. Constant variety, like we talked about before, varying motions. The big one here is consistency over intensity. All right, again, like I just mentioned, the goal is going to be exercising 7 days a week in some capacity. That doesn't mean you go hard 100% for 3 hours every day. One day could be a leisurely walk, but you got to move your body every day. All right, and so consistency over intensity is much better than going and doing a heavy weight workout one day and then not being able to move for 2 or 3 days following that. Does that make sense? And so really when we look at this, we want to make sure that we're exercising every day, all the time, and just varying those movements. Here we want to have lean, muscular bodies. We don't want to have big, bulky bodies. We want to have a lean, muscular body, which again we're going to talk about. Optimize that vitamin D by working out outside, exercising in the sun. Again, grounding, like I mentioned before, when you're barefoot, it's good for your arches, for your feet, overall strength, and then again, that negative electron or that negative ionic exchange that happens in your body. Really, really good at balancing free radical damage that happens from everyday life. We want to, again, build strong feet and arches. Submaximal heart rate's the other thing. A lot of people don't realize this, but when you look at a max heart rate, that doesn't mean that you should work out at your max heart rate for 30 or 40 minutes. That would be the max heart rate that you would touch on in any given workout. But I would argue you don't even want to be there. And there's a lot of studies on this, that if you're working at a very, very high heart rate for the majority of your workout, you could actually be causing more harm than good. All right. So I am a fan of using like a heart rate monitor when you exercise so that you have an idea of where you are, but you want to be sub-maximal heart rate. All right. Just so you know, to know your maximum heart rate is going to be a simple equation. It's 220 minus your age is going to give you your max heart rate. So again, if you're 20 years old, 200 is your max heart rate. If you're 40 years old, 180 is your max heart rate. So you want to be mindful of that, but you shouldn't be exercising there the whole workout. All right. And so again, the goal with that is just to be mindful of not going over the top there. But again, that's the overview. We're going to be breaking these categories into further, more detailed videos. But again, I just want to give you some of the background as far as where the idea for Coastal Fitness and Nutrition came from. And I want to be clear, you don't have to live on the ocean in order to work this way. I think most people realize you could live in the middle of the country, away from the coast, still have access to fresh seafood. You can still have access to outdoors where you're barefoot, whether you're on the sand on the bank of a lake, a river, or you're just exercising on the grass. Again, you can get these benefits anywhere. But again, the idea of Coastal Fitness and Nutrition is coming from that seafood component, outdoor exercise, near water, a lot of cases, and again, varied exercises, which we'll go into more. And that could be anything from swimming, surfing, tennis, pickleball, golf, basketball. You go on and on. There's a million options. And so part of keeping exercise fun is going to be the variety of it. All right. So again, make sure you click subscribe and follow our channel, Coastal Fitness and Nutrition. Make sure you give us a like and share with anyone you know that could benefit from this information. Again, this has been Dr. Devin Coughlin, another episode of Coastal Fitness and Nutrition. And again, this is the overview, background of where the idea came from.